Coach Taylor's first year, they got 2 national champions that were transfers into the program. Some very good transfers in this year as well, but an excellent recruiting class with 6 outstanding freshmen. And we are underway as we're starting, Tony, at 133. So we'll save 125. Strickenberger and Spratley for last. We've got Gunnar Andrich, an outstanding freshman for West Virginia, against freshman Ronnie Ramirez.
Well, actually both teams are going to have 6 freshmen, whether they're true freshmen or redshirt freshmen, in the lineup today. So it's a really youth-on-youth opportunity for both squads. And again, some chances for some people to get in the lineup who haven't been in there a lot, especially from the West Virginia side. But Oklahoma State, high caliber team. David Taylor, storied history, obviously, in terms of his own wrestling career. And really, in our conversation with him on Friday was about, bringing that mentality, the score points mentality, the thing that made him the guy that he was, and from a competing standpoint, competitive standpoint, and wanting to bring that into enhancing the culture at Oklahoma State.
Andrich again, first year in the program, and has had a major impact. 13-5 on the year, a couple of wins against ranked competition, and up against Ronnie Ramirez, who is ranked currently number 11 in the country.
Well, I think Andrich's been wrestling really well. He's been really solid. His pace and consistency have been really good. His conditioning's been really good. This will be a little bit different test for him today, but this is why you come to West Virginia or Oklahoma State. This is why you're in the Big 12. This is the whole opportunities of wrestling high caliber people as much as possible, again, in preparation for how you learn to get better as the year goes along so that you're ready for March.
Both wrestlers have remained on their feet for the most part here, the first half of this first period.
And it's funny, maybe it's not funny, maybe it's a very consistent thing when we talk to coaches throughout the year, and especially over this year. They all say relatively the same things in the sense of where they want their guys' focus to be, right? It's really moment by moment, and it's about scoring, and that scoring mentality, and getting after people and working to your positions and finding ways to battle yourself through things, and not getting too caught up in whether you just gave up 3 points or not, but to keep wrestling and to keep working. And if you're a kid in grade school or high school, or you're coaching kids in those, it's more about that than it is even the wins and losses for these guys, because those are the things that create the wins and losses. It's not about trying to hold on and win 4-3 anymore. It's really about trying to advance and score as much as you possibly can, knowing that if you score a lot, you're going to win, right? So, and it's about having fun in this whole process. Earlier today, I was listening to a little clip from a football standpoint with coach from L.A., the Chargers, or not the
Harbaugh,
but not Harbaugh, but the Rams, and he was talking about the same thing. He said you have to have fun. You got to win and have fun. You can't be miserable trying to excel. That just doesn't go really well. And when you listen to Coach Flynn and Coach Taylor talk about it, they love wrestling, and they want guys who love wrestling and have fun in the process of it and learning how to be good at it.
Coach Taylor, his second season, and last year led this Oklahoma State team to a Big 12 championship and to a third-place NCAA tournament finish.
I think that was one thing that I really took away from whenever we talked to Coach Taylor was, his emphasis of just being able to go out and be thankful, score points, because that's what the sport's about. But he was bringing the, light of, we haven't really done anything yet, even though they just took third in the country. So that tells you the standard that is at this program, and it has been like that for years. 34 NCAA titles for the team. No one in any sport has more than the Cowboys.
Andrich, you saw take the lead there, began period 2 on the bottom and got out quickly.
No, that was a good job on his part. The last thing you want to do is spend a lot of time on the bottom, especially against somebody like Ramirez. So he did a nice job of getting up to his feet, getting some space, and getting himself an escape for 1 point.
Got out in 5 seconds. Now we're a minute plus into period number 2, and that escape point, the only point of the match so far.
Well, they've been careful with one another so far. There's a pretty good shot by Ramirez and decent counter. See Andrich trying to get that shin whizzer. He's got to be a little careful about pulling out of bounds, right? It's close to being out of bounds. He's going to try to see if he can catch that ankle coming back. You see Ramirez trying to pull him back in to get some space to finish. Tried to limp arm out.
Ramirez dragging him back in a second time.
And again, another whizzer by Andrich. Some good defense. Try to roll underneath. This would be. He's going to just step out of bounds as it's period ends. So man, nice little scramble. Good job by Ramirez trying to finish right on the boundary, and a great job by Andrich countering all that.
Coach Tim Flynn as building this program at West Virginia into the top echelon of the Big 12 Conference. The goal, obviously, to compete with the likes of the Oklahoma States. This time, Ramirez on the bottom to start.
No doubt about that. You know, and also you're not going to find a more competitive guy than Tim Flynn either. So, I mean, they want to win. Nice shot by Andrich. Got stopped there a little bit. Try to work that corner. You see Ramirez driving into him, though, which is going to collapse him somewhat. Now trying to take that leg and see if he can't. Got to watch a spladle here to some degree. All right, gets his head to the outside. That might have not have been great. Then we might get a stalemate. Well, he's trying to lift it. He does get it up. Nice job. Pretty close to 3 here if he can just drive that a little bit.
No points yet.
He's got the crossface pretty well. I can't really see what he's holding on to that's going to say that this is not a 3 points. And there's a 3-point takedown. Great job by Andrich.
So the first offensive points of the match by Gunnar Andrich in this matchup of freshmen. And there's the escape. It's 4-2.
I get the feeling that's going to wake both of them up, too. Right now, we're going to see a little more intensity from Ramirez being down by 2.
Got to put that foot on the gas. Ramirez had a good defense there. You know, put that hand in the middle there, almost like a switch position from neutral. And Gunnar just able to pop that head out, like Tony said. Now here's the pressure on the edge.
Andrich was hit with a stall warning during that little scramble as well. We're down to 24 seconds.
Minimally, he can waste some time here, but he got an opportunity to get another takedown. I really don't like that warning for stalling call either, to be honest with you. You just get a takedown and then you get called for stalling. Again, why? Because you're in front. I just hate that stuff. There's 5 seconds left. This is going to stay right here in the boundary, and that's going to end the match. And a great win for Andrich and a great win for West Virginia to start off this match.
Excellent start for the Mountaineers. Needed a quick start. They get it from Gunnar Andrich. So Andrich comes out and defeats a ranked freshman in Ronnie Ramirez.
He just does a nice job. He gets in on it and keeps battling all the way through, even though he got collapsed. This is also why I don't like that stalling call right after he gets that. He finally gets around, he cross faces him, finally gets around the corner and is awarded that 3-point takedown, which is obviously the difference in the match. Did a great job of doing the things necessary, staying in good position and get himself with the win.
Coach Tim Flynn with some words of encouragement off the mat for Gunnar Andrich. Certainly his biggest win so far. First of many to come for the freshman Gunnar Andrich, who is mat side with Jarrett.
Gunnar, being able to wrestle through those positions, you seem so composed there on the end.
Yeah.
How do you keep your head right and get that win at the end?
Just knowing I got to keep wrestling. I mean, thoughts got in there. It's like, we can take a stalemate. But I knew if I just kept wrestling, I'd eventually get the takedown.
You're able to start this match off for the Mountaineers and get things rolling. What was it like to be in front of this crowd freshman year and get a statement win like
It's
that?
awesome, especially since I'm from West Virginia. I know a lot of people actually in the crowd, so it fills me.
Gunnar, congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Point Pleasant High School graduate Gunnar Andrich with a huge smile on his face. Tony, that's what it's all about. You put the work in and you have success like Gunnar had this afternoon against Oklahoma State.
Well, if he's not happy about that, I don't know what he's going to be happy about. That was a heck of a match on his part. And strategically a great match. He took a couple of good shots. He was able to finish one of them, was able to defend one of them pretty well for a good period of time. And I mean, that's the difference between winning and losing at this level, right? Great job on his part. Just shows a lot of maturity and a lot of development, even from the earlier part of the season when we saw him in that quad meet. Just his technique and his patience and his drive is starting to coalesce a little bit, and he's getting a little sharper about some things.
That's, you know, like you said, being able to defend that sprint. You have the lead going into that third period, going into short time, and you know you're expecting that final sprint from the wrestler that you're facing, and to be able to keep your composure, and you know he's in on a shot deep. Ramirez is locked in the crotch there, and just to be able to take his time, sit back, stay in good position, and come out with a win, like you said, just shows the development that we've seen from him.
Jordan Titus against Sergio Vega here at 141. Vega ranked second in the country, so very significant challenge for Titus here this afternoon as well.
I think you could say that pretty much about every match here, Kyle. I'm pretty sure that they're all significant challenges. Again, that's why you come to these schools, because you enjoy these challenges, or I hope you're enjoying these challenges. If you're not enjoying it, man, your head's in a tough spot. Especially as we talked about, the grind of the way the season goes, you have to find things that make it fun and processes that make it fun. If you get caught up in, especially the win-loss thing with Jordan too, man, some of these losses have been tough. They've been sudden victories and 1 points and things along those lines. I mean, like, you're right there.
Speaking of that, he lost in overtime Friday night to Luke Simcox of North Carolina. So again, right there on the verge. And he suffered a disappointing loss, trying to bounce back from that. Went 2-1 at the Cliff Keen event last weekend.
You know, and we talk about it with other sports, but travel in this sport is different than travel in all the other sports because of you're making weight. You're not stopping for a meal somewhere. You're not, you know, there's this other element of it that makes the travel very challenging, and that in Oklahoma State's facing it today, right? They came halfway across the country, flew in yesterday. They're going to make weight this morning and then wrestle now, and then they're going to take off and leave out right after that. So West Virginia just did that on Friday, right? They went in Thursday, wrestled Friday, left Saturday, well, Friday night into Saturday. Jordan Titus, nice job of just driving right through that. He's not technically out yet. He's got to watch. But at the same time, he can't hold on to his leg like that either, right? So either you're on top or you're not. And if you are, you can't keep holding on to the leg that way.
Titus again trying to roll through. We've seen him have success.
Well, he does love to roll through.
That's what you saw.
I thought that was, he broke that lock. I imagine this might get challenged here if he doesn't give him this 1 point going out of bounds, which he's likely to. They're trying to get him to free his ankle. Well, now it's, well, but that also changes your strategies and tactics when you're there too, right? So you see Titus is in this position, kind of rolls through here. There's the leg in, and I think he does a nice job with this, trying to roll it and pop out the other side. Man, that's, wow.
No challenge as we restart with 1:10 left in the period.
Well, I think if they go out of bounds and he's somewhat parallel to him, they might challenge it. But when Vega ends up back on top, kind of pointless at that point, unless you're going to give up one and get three. That's not a good change.
Now Vega with ride time becoming a factor.
Well, he's doing a good job on top. And there's a nice little
sit out turn in
little
from
sit
Titus.
out.
Like, just relentless there on the bottom, and you know that's the experience of that college mat wrestling is just a complete step up. That's, you know, that's really where you see these wins and losses being determined. Here's a good funk by him. He's got both ankles, driving those hips back into Vega. Vega's got both ankles tied up too.
You can hear this. Usually the guy with his head up has a big advantage in these situations. So he's trying to get Jordan Titus to get his head up, which is tough when the guy's got your feet elevated. But this is where he's got to try to do that, right? I think he's trying to hold on for stalemate here.
Well,
Only
the period's going to expire.
Going to expire.
Yeah, Vega initiated that with a double leg, and Titus defended it very well.
Well, that's what we were talking about too, right? I mean, that's pretty much chain wrestling. Vega, they give up the single, bang, he's right back in there, which is why, you know, why he's ranked number 2, right? I mean, ranking at this point in time is sort of a little general and kind of a guess a little bit because there haven't been a huge amount of matchups. But the reason he's winning is for those particular reasons. It's about finding ways to score points out of positions.
So important for Titus here to spend some time on top, get that ride time point work down, which he succeeded in doing. It's a 1-0 Titus lead with Vega on the bottom to begin period 3.
So he's still staying on top, which is pretty good. Might cut him loose here now that the riding time's down. Now we're down to a takedown, right? And Jordan Titus has been in these 1-0, 3-3, 4-2 match. I mean, this is the match he's been in pretty much the whole season.
We've been seeing it all season as well. Now we're down to 1:15 left in the third with a takedown to determine it. Do you think that either of these guys could get a takedown in that short amount of time with the scrambles that we've seen? And that's the threat that Titus poses in every match. Vega locked in the crotch, a lot like Rivera's tactic in last match. He goes through to that almost like a switch position from the bottom. Titus hanging onto the ankle, and like Tony said, that height wins, and Vega making sure that pressure's to Jordan's head. Oh, he's got a cradle locked up out of that.
He's going to get
Titus able to fight out.
Right, there's the takedown. And again, the difference in that a little bit is Titus was in a nice shot and then just paused for just a second. And when you're wrestling these top tier guys, that second, that's all they need. You know, it's sort of like listening to Gale Sayers back in the day where he said, give me 18 inches of daylight, that's all I need. Well, these guys just need a second to regroup and recover, and all of a sudden it's a whole different battle. Right, time back over a point now.
Yeah, Vega, one of those outstanding freshmen, 6-0 on the year, and he's wrestled his best against the best, 4-0 against ranked opponents, and he's going to win this one this afternoon over Jordan Titus.
With them, it's been 15 years since they won a national championship as a team, and so I know that they're excited about that history, but at the same time they want that to be current. And obviously the top dog at the moment is Penn State and what they've put together, so that's basically what you're working to compete with at the national level, is that. And they definitely, in the investment in David Taylor and the investment in they're making, is Oklahoma State definitely wants to be back in that area.
Casey Suederski ranked 13th in the country against TJ Langley at 149 pounds.
Ooh, nice takedown.
Yeah, Suederski jumps out in front. And we talked at the top about the changes in West Virginia's lineup. This is one of them. TJ Langley in for Willie McDougall, the Oklahoma transfer, who's wrestled very, very well this year. But he's out today. Langley's in there and up against one of the top wrestlers in the country at 149 pounds.
You know, Suederski had a little bit of a slow start to the season, but as this year goes on, you can only hope to imagine that comfort and that drive is only going to, you know, exceed here at Oklahoma State. Obviously, he was one of the top wrestlers in the country at Iowa State in that program. And then to be around this room, talking to Sergio Vega after his match, he just won, you know, tied this match up at 3 apiece, got the Cowboys on the board, and he wasn't satisfied. You know, one of the big things was youth is no excuse to not go out there and dominate. And I think that that's something that Suederski has carried with himself throughout his career, gets another takedown there on the edge. And, you know, being able to come into a new program with a new face and, you know, just continue to excel.
Well, I think that sometimes the mentality of youth too, the idea that you're going to be able to dominate every single time, but the reality is these other guys are good. I mean, it's not the guy who wins by, you know, technical fall, major decision fall every single time. Those guys are very, very rare, right? That just doesn't happen a lot. There's a lot of competition. There's a lot of training. Suederski just tracking him on the edge and shoots sort of that high crotch, changes it into a single, and is able to finish it relatively easy.
Suederski with 2 takedowns in the first period, a 6-1 lead, and Langley begins period 2 on the bottom. Suederski, a 2-time NCAA qualifier. Didn't compete last year, though, was injured in the preseason, but he's back out there this year as Langley gets a point for the escape. It's a 6-2 Suederski lead, and the ride time point that he's got that in his hip pocket at this point, 1:07 in ride time. We approach the end of this period.
With the absence of, Richard Figueroa today from Oklahoma State's lineup, Suederski's the first transfer that we've seen for the Cowboys today. And I think comparing this transfer class to last year's transfer class, the big thing that stood out to me was last year, the transfers that Coach Taylor was able to get, they were graduating. It was their final year. They were 5th-year transfers for the Cowboys. Now they get guys like Suederski, Facundo, and Ryder who have multiple years of eligibility to build on once they come to Stillwater.
We head to the second, and it's a 6-2 lead for Suederski. Jared mentioned those transfers from last year. Wyatt Hendrickson, the transfer from Air Force, won a national championship at heavyweight, went on to win the Hodge Trophy. And Dean Hamidi, another transfer, came from Wisconsin, won a national championship for Oklahoma State last year. So that worked out well. Those 2 portal guys.
And those are 2 portal guys who were dominant before they were at Oklahoma State, and then you see them go there and just be able to completely step that up a level. Now, I mean, obviously Wyatt was one of the biggest upsets in NCAA wrestling history, a historic moment for the sport, but Dean was just as dominant throughout the season. It was really amazing to watch. So that's what it intrigues me with this transfer class, that he's able to get guys, of that caliber from other schools. I mean, Ryder and Facundo were both Penn State prospects. Ryder was there at M2 with David in State College. So, these are guys who have been around his coaching style, around his process longer. Get to see them for a couple of years in the orange and black.
In the modern era, in relation to how this transfer stuff works, is that there's 2 elements. Now, sometimes you go to a place and you're just not having the success you want, or you're stuck behind somebody who's a perennial All-American, but you're not going to crack the lineup, so you're looking for opportunities elsewhere, and you get some transfers that way. And then there's the other part of the transfer case where there is NIL money and things like that, so people are sometimes looking for better deals along those lines. And right here, you see Langley doing a pretty good job on top. He's burying Suederski down into the mat, which I'm sure can't make the Oklahoma State people all that excited. There's he run that power half.
Yeah, cranking on that left shoulder.
Right, and what you see Suederski doing is locking his own hands, trying not to get pulled over, which is technically, we like to call that stalling in a lot of places. And there's the warning for stalling on the bottom. He's pushing that head down, really trying to crank on him. He's been on top of this whole period. And now Suederski might be regretting of taking down.
There's the stalemate. That draws the consternation of the Mountaineer fans.
Well, because you just rewarded the bottom guy for laying there, is basically what happened. Hey, you're laying there, you're getting beat up, let me give you a fresh start. What's he going to say, that Langley's not working on a pin, he's working on rolling that friggin' power half, right? So, I mean, there's these decisions that officials make sometimes that put them in control of some things when just, I don't know, stay out of it. Now Suederski gets to his feet, has a chance to escape now before the end of the period, which, man, he wasn't moving anywhere before that.
It was a great job by Langley being able to keep his composure there, being able to throw a boot in quick and get a quick little return with a trip and finish this period on top. Spends the entire second period on top of Suederski.
Could be another warning for stalling, really. I wouldn't be surprised to see Langley pick top. You see Tim Flynn going to him, pick top. No, did he just? I picked top. He's beating him up down there. There's been no match on his feet, right? Suederski's killing him on his feet. So pick top. You've just ridden him for 2 minutes.
6-2. Again, he spent the entire period on top. Suederski had the ride time point. Now that's obviously gone, and Langley's close to a minute.
Right. So
Suederski got that head down on the mat, but it was all in the sense of sealing off. He reaches back in to try and catch that ankle when Langley throws the boot in, but to no avail because Langley's directly on that crossface. And I believe, I can't see the backside, but he does have a bulldog there.
yeah, he's got his ankle hooked right there, working that crossface.
So we're down to a minute and a half. I mean, Langley ultimately is going to need some offense to win this.
Well, he's been working at turning him, and he's done a pretty good job, not just riding, but trying to get into a position where he's beating him up pretty good. Suederski up to his feet now, as he has a chance to get out, which would just definitely put him in the driver's seat.
There's the stall.
There's a stall on Langley because he's on his feet and he's not getting him back to the mat. So now red gets a point for warning green for stalling, but at the same time, I don't blame Langley for taking that warning, because if he lets him out, he lets him go, he's got no shot.
A little bit of a work towards a spladle there, cross body ride, maybe trying to just throw something.
Now the question is, will he warn Suederski again, who's now just basing up, trying not to get turned mostly.
Final 20 seconds coming up.
There's a warning for red and a point. So we've evened out the stalls for each guy. It's going to end up with 2.5 minutes of riding time, but it's going to lose 8-4. I mean, just a nice job of, a lot of times they'll call that as a warning too, for like sticking your foot out on the floor like that. Like purposefully sticking your foot out on the floor, right? As opposed to we're scrambling and we end up out there.
Just 6 seconds left. See if Langley can spend 2 complete periods on top. That's the goal at this point. He'll accomplish that, but it'll be Suederski taking an 8-4 victory.
I mean, I got to tell you, that was some good riding on Langley's part, man. There's no way Suederski was ready for that. Just no way that he was ready for that kind of getting beat up down there on the bottom that way.
6-3 Oklahoma State. We move on to give it everything he had to win that matchup. Just didn't quite look right. Waters obviously injured, out today, replaced by Cole Evans. And number 2, Landon Robideau, is on the mat for Oklahoma State. Let's go across. Well, let's let this play out here for a second. There's the trip. Evans trying to score first. Pretty close. Mountaineers looking for points. Nothing yet.
That should be 3 right there.
West Virginia looking to score early.
Now
Robideau with good defense.
Evans is a little bit of a problem here because he's down there pretty low. He's going to try to roll him through, but he's in the. See Robideau just working towards him. He's going to get a takedown here eventually, and maybe get a chance to turn him.
Yeah, 3 points there for the Oklahoma State wrestler. Let's go across to Jared real quick with Corey Suederski.
Casey, congratulations on a hard-fought win there. You get a guy who's really comfortable from the top position, really working that power half and legs. How are you able to just stay tough and, get a win for your team?
Let the match end.
Yeah, I mean, you go out and get a quick start there, though, build up that lead, and then, it's experience. Your first year in Stillwater, it's, getting things done.
I've been doing this stuff my whole life. Yeah. There's nothing to learn from that except, I don't know, I got a long way to go. Got to keep figuring it out, keep showing up, and it's a long season. I got the bottom, I guess. It's 3 points. That's what I got to do.
All right, Casey, congratulations. Good luck the rest of the year.
Casey Suederski there again, not pleased, having spent the final 2 periods on the bottom despite the offense early and the 8-4 win. And in this one, Tony, we've got a couple of couple of takedowns, couple of offensive maneuvers by Robideau.
So that was the exact opposite reaction of Andrich when he won. So he was not happy with that at all. Well, it's hard to be happy when you got beat up for 4 minutes. I mean, that's not fun at all. But yes, Evans was in on a nice shot at the beginning. Looked like he had an opportunity for a takedown. Was really, really close to it. Did not get it. But that, again, shows you why sometimes people are not, why they ranked where they are is because of the way they continue to fight and continue to look to score. He wasn't trying to bail out or try to get out of bounds there. He was looking for opportunities to score, which he did. And there's another takedown, just a nice little go behind, pulled him forward, kind of went behind a little bit. But he's been doing a nice job of that. And now that's his third takedown in the first period. And Evans, you know, the challenge is you haven't wrestled much. And now you're going to go out and wrestle, not just the number 2 guy, but wrestling in the room is not the same as wrestling when you're out here. And that energy level is a little bit different. And managing that and some of the, we'll call it nervousness, potential anxiousness on the front end of matches, especially when you're not used to that. Not that you've never done it in your life, but when you're not used to that from a college perspective, it can wear on you a little bit.
9-2 lead for the number 2 ranked wrestler in the country. And this is the second of 3 in that first period.
He just does a nice job of getting to his knee, which didn't really let him sprawl very much, kept his head in good position, grabbed the other one. Relatively easy finish from that point forward.
Again, Evans in the lineup for number 1 ranked Ty Waters. Evans from Perrysburg, Ohio, 3-time Ohio State champ. And he's got great experience as some of the best wrestlers. His drill partner in high school at Perrysburg was Marcus Blaze, who's in the lineup and ranked in the top 10 at Penn State at 133 pounds.
There's that continuous wrestling, you know, just trying to control the corners there. You know, goes to the tricep here, but it's the thinking 3 steps ahead, you know, putting that chain wrestling together, just trying to score points there on the edge, you know, a shot, an underhook, a snap.
Ty Waters on the sidelines today. Again, did wrestle at North Carolina back on Friday and was really in a battle. Laird Root of North Carolina. Waters ended up winning that match 6-3 to stay undefeated. But again, not in the lineup today.
You know, I know we talk about the stay undefeated thing, but I know when you're competing, you can't be concerned about that at all, right? It's about wrestling this match. You start defending your record, you're in trouble. Your mind's in the wrong spot. So it's about continuing to go out and attack, find ways to do this. You see Robideau doing a great job of continuing to attack Evans in this situation. Actually caused a warning for stalling, which I'm not sure. I mean, is he stalling? No, he's just not able to defend. He's just not right. And he's getting let up and taken down, and they could see his energy level. He's struggling a little bit to find him in spaces. You know, guys are 3-time state champ in high school, has some ability to wrestle. When he's got that kind of workout partner, he can. But this is doing this and not having wrestled real live and much is a challenge.
Robideau, a 3-time high school champ himself from the state of Minnesota, St. Michael, Minnesota. As we head to the third, and Robideau looking for some bonus points here, up 16-4 heading into the third period.
You know, you're watching Evans, man. When he starts to take steps, you can see, man, his legs are a bit wobbly. You're trying to find that energy, and that's why I said about the nervousness and anxiousness before the match, because you can burn a lot that way, trying to get excited about it and trying to stay in a good headspace, and especially when you want to go out and do incredibly well, and now you're running out of energy. Your energy level's dropping, and you're trying to stay. You can see his stance changes a little bit. Robideau is a takedown away from ending this.
Spent 245 on top as well. Evans with some offense here in the third.
Well, he had that real good shot in the beginning of the match, in on the single again, and then again kind of stopped a little bit. It gives Robideau a chance to. Ooh, wow, geez, wow. That's legal. That's not legal.
1 point, West Virginia.
That'll result in a point for Evans.
Yeah. Oh, could have been a caution too there, but now he's just going to try to get this takedown, I would think.
There it is, the three-pointer.
3 point.
That wins it for Robideau, number 2 in the country. And he's victorious here, the freshman improving to 7-0. Robideau, the 3rd consecutive winner.
As Donnie, a world champ for Iran. David Taylor won the career head-to-head against him multiple times, taking him out in the world championships multiple times. Was just a legend of the sport, and you know, a great face for this program in Stillwater.
Well, you can't win those medals if you don't beat anybody, right? So, I mean, no, and again, you know, it's mindset and mentality. You're thinking about it in terms of wins. Obviously, everybody wants to win. Processes determine outcomes, and figuring out what processes you use in terms of your preparation. How confident am I that I'm prepared as well as I can be? And for wrestling, right? There's the whole weight issue and all that kind of stuff that goes into it as well. Those are the things that determine how well you're ultimately going to end up doing. Nice job by Taylor, different Taylor, fighting off that that single leg by Lockett, who's also highly ranked. You know, these guys, Taylor also pretty interesting resume himself from high school. So these guys are all good, and the little differences between how you prepare, the stuff you don't see until the mat, right? The stuff that's all behind the scenes, that's what creates the wins and losses. Those processes are what create the wins and losses.
I think one thing about this process and what they have going on here is you could see, like, before the match, you know, thank God I'm a country boy, is playing, and, you know, Ladarian Lockett's, you know, loose. He's dancing along, and David Taylor's there smiling, you know, talking to him too, you know, just keeping these guys light and, you know, having fun going out and scoring points. Like, that's what it's about.
Sean Taylor at 6-6 on the year. Ladarian Lockett, ranked number 2 in the country. And again, another one of those impressive freshmen for Oklahoma State. Ranked as the number 3 overall prospect in high school wrestling for the class of 2025. And he's had success on the international stage as well. Locked in on Sean Taylor here in the scoreless first period. Oklahoma State got its first bonus point win back at 157 pounds. They've won 3 matches in a row here to go up 11-3.
And I'd say out of those 4 matches, they've all been competitive except for that particular one, right? I mean, there's been some good stuff that both teams have done in terms of fighting through positions and continuing to wrestle, and they've been some good matches. Ooh.
Impressive quickness there. And he finishes it. Lockett with the first 3 points of this one in the final 10 seconds of period number 1.
That was an impressive pick. I mean, he went for that. He had to reach and extend a long way to get to that ankle. Loaded it really well.
He was on the belly to the mat on it.
Right? I mean, see him loaded, gets pulled, boom,
yeah.
Right through. Man, that's a long way to go, and does a nice job of covering up. See, Taylor tried to roll through, like he didn't give up a near fall there, but
Taylor on the bottom here to begin period 2. Actually, final seconds of period 1. Now we'll head to period 2.